as John said, they just had their transfer yesterday with their surrogate. I don't think, I asked them this just to prepare for this, and I said that they haven't, once they matched, they haven't actually talked anything about HIV at all the whole way. It's just basically about how excited they are to go through the IVF process and become parents. When we, as John mentioned, when we talk about donor options, there are a lot of different options and different agencies out there that we're connected with. We have a donor pool as well, and we do feel for the child's development, we're big on the no donation, both so that for two reasons mostly. It's obviously the child's development, so that if they want to know, again, as John mentioned, where they came from, which all kids do, always have those questions about their, do I, have this person's nose or eyes, whatever. And I think they want to have a sense of who they are, where they belong, kind of in the world and their family. And so we want children to have the opportunity, if possible, to be able to have a connection to someone, again, if they so choose, when they become the age that it might be appropriate, where they might want to meet a donor and have a sense of who she is. I think the other thing that we also feel strongly about is for medical reasons in the future. If for some reason either your child or the donor at some point develops some sort of medical situation, you would want to have the opportunity, we believe, to know more about that. So you could then, either through the agency or if you have the donor's contact information, be able to find out something so that you could have more medical information to take care of your child, or if your donor develops something, because the donors are typically between the age of 21, 22, and 28. They may develop a medical condition later in life. You would want to be able to know if they can contact you to say, I have this bad news, I found out this, but you might want to just know that as you prepare your child along the way, if there's any kind of testing that might need to be done at a later date. I think most of the donors we have that come to our program really want a known donation. They want to know the people that they are donating their eggs to. They tend to want to have some level of a relationship, even if that's just for the matching process, and then you go on your merry way and you don't have a lot of contact. There's the possibility that that could exist later for the child, as I said. But it's not something where they're going to expect to be your best friend and text you every day or anything like that. I think it's just a matter of, it makes them feel good about what they're providing and helping families be created. I think the other thing is that we want to also talk along the way with people becoming parents about all the different things. I think that there's a lot of levels of disclosure, and we work with people until they become parents and have their children. But we're certainly available for couples and for individuals along the way if they were to say, I'm ready for talking about this, or what age is appropriate to bring this up, kind of thing. And there's agencies that are around the country that can help once families are created and the kids are getting older on some of the issues of disclosure. But we do feel, again, we're big on the open and honest communication with the kids, that they know where they came from, they know their family makeup, who's there, and then some of the issues that may arise as far as disclosure. The child will know, obviously growing up, it will be part of their life that their dad is gay, or that their parents are gay, and I think that also we just want to be able to acknowledge too that at some point it may be important to the family to disclose the HIV when you're ready with the proper supports in place. But again, for the child's sake, so that they have a good understanding of their development, and I think also the ability to understand I think some of the health issues that may arise later, and so that the children feel comfortable having that honest relationship with their parents. So I don't know. Stop.
Thank you. Again, my name is Brian Rosenberg. I've been HIV positive since 1988. George and I read there's a session here where it's long-term living with HIV, and neither of us, believe it or not, could be on the panel. He's 25 years or more, and I'm only 24, and probably you're only 23 years, so to come back at the next one, I guess. Let's see, I've been with my partner Ferdinand since 1993. Let me take a step back. So I came out, became positive in '88, a year out of college. I came out as being HIV positive about a year later, and it was another year and a half later that I came out as being a gay man. I've yet to this day ever met someone who did that same order of things. I was really a mess way back in those days. I met my partner Ferdinand in 1993. I'm just looking at a cheat sheet of dates here. I met my partner Ferdinand back in 1993. And honestly, the first 5 years of our relationship were spent about me being HIV positive, he was negative, and really about me staying healthy and us being a healthy couple, etc. And it wasn't until after 5 years that we said, okay, it's time to move on because life is going to be more than just about Brian's HIV status. And so we moved on figuratively and literally. We moved from Boston to New York City. It was 2 kids in a candy store. We experimented with lots of kinds of different things that I'm not going to get into here. But it wasn't until, you know, while we had always thought someday wouldn't it be cool to be a dad, and I'm, you know, very close with my nieces and nephews and with Ferd's nieces and nephews, and I always hit off really well with my friends' kids, but, you know, it was never going to be an option for me for all the obvious reasons. And then after living in New York for several years, we started thinking, well, maybe it could be an option. And I think it was in 2006 where Ferd said to me, you know what, if we're going to stay together, and if you're going to ever be happy, you need to become a dad, because I think we were growing older, and I think that we realized that life had to be more meaningful for us, and for us, that meant becoming parents. So that was a real turning point to us. In 2007, we started attending Want to Be Dads, I think it was, at the center. And actually, I think you spoke at a meeting there that Ferd went to once, and found out about you. So we said, okay, we're going to look into all different options at once. So we went and investigated the adoption option, and we investigated. Ferd was convinced that if we were going to have biological kids, for some reason they had to be mine. I knew it wouldn't matter to me if they were my bio kids or not, because I would easily fall in love with them. So we went forward on both routes simultaneously, and actually in March of 2009, I think I completed the last of my donations to SPAR. The first one actually took place in SPAR, and I can tell you that I don't think it's meant to happen in your offices there. It's all the things I read about for people going into fertility clinics and donating. None of that was there. I think I lived in New York at the time, and we agreed that, geez, I should just go ahead and give the first sample now. At any rate, so I did that in March, and then it was in May that I signed a contract with Surrogacy. May 19th actually was the date of that. That weekend was Memorial Day weekend. We went to Fire Island, came back on Tuesday morning, got a call from our adoption agency to say that a boy was born in Brooklyn. Do you want him? We're like, I'm still hungover at this point. I'm like, do we want him? Is he healthy? They said, we'll let you know tomorrow. We got a call the next day on Wednesday. He's healthy, you need to get him tomorrow, I mean Thursday. So picked him up on Thursday. I won't get into all the panic attacks that I went through and the craziness that I did in 12 hours. Got Levi, brought him home, and said, hey, we just signed a contract with Surrogacy, and we gave a pretty, well, for us, a pretty large deposit. And we had done through all this work at SPAR. What are we going to do now? And we thought, well, you know what, maybe Levi, we don't really want Levi to be an only child. We'll go through this, we'll just try it once, we'll give it one shot. If it works, fantastic. If it doesn't, it doesn't. As it turned out, my partner Ferd, who, as I said, is HIV negative, was HIV negative, remains negative, his little guys didn't work, so the irony here is that the HIV positive guy was going to be the bio dad. And we went to a fertility clinic, and they said, hey, you know, you're going to do this, you should put in 2 healthy embryos. The chances of having a singleton child go up, I don't know, to 40-something, north of 40%. Of course, the chances of having twins goes up to, I don't know, 20%. I have an awful memory. So at any rate, we put in 2, and lo and behold, we were very lucky. Both of them ended up becoming babies, and today we have twins, Sadie and Ella, who were 21 months old yesterday.
Someone lied to you because it's closer to 50%.
Oh, was it 50%?
Yes.
That goes up 20%.
It goes up 20%, but it becomes 45, something like that.
Oh, 45, okay.
Yeah, something like that.
So we were, and we know several people did it, and we thought, just, we handle twins. And he said, but you know what, if through all this magic intervention the good Lord gives us twins, we will graciously accept them and be very excited. So I missed the whole part about matching and all that, so I'll get to that now. So at any rate, we have 3 kids now. I used to be able to say we have 3 kids under the age of 3, especially to a straight audience, saying, oh, wow, that's... Now, I don't know how much sympathy I'm going to get, but at any rate...
not from someone with a 17 and 18.
Yeah, right. Not
zero sympathy. I'll trade your 3 kids for one of mine.
So we had a very easy and great experience being matched. First with our egg donor, it was really important to us that, as they both mentioned actually, that our kid or kids would have access to his or her or their biological mother. And so it was important to us that we actually met the person in person as well. And so we went with her on her visit to the fertility clinic. She knew, and it was also important that she knew about my HIV status. I'm very transparent. If you Google me, you'll see back in 1996, when the protease and the cocktail, first came out, my doctor was a big research doctor, and I spoke to the press, and there's an article of me that's pretty good, except for this awful quote where I say I'm 30 wonderful, because I'm doing so well on the medications. So I tell you now, I am forever mortified that I said that. When I turned 41, I did not tell anyone I was 40 wonderful.
You came out HIV positive before you came out
did.
gay?
When I finally did come out, I went crazy. I went to Speakers Bureau, and I talked about living with HIV and being gay, etc. So it was really important to us that we met our donor, his name is Lauren, was this really wonderful young woman, and the stories you said, I mean, she wanted to help out people who would have trouble becoming parents. Both our donor and our gestational carrier said the same thing to us, which is, while they wanted to help out families who wanted to have kids, they really thought it would be particularly cool to work with gay guys, because let's face it, we can't do it without their help. It's not like, oh, one of us isn't working properly, we just can't do it. So, in fact, our gestational carrier told us that she preferred to work with a gay couple because there would be none of the anguish or any of the psychological stuff that will probably go on with a straight couple using a gestational carrier. And our carrier had done it before. She gave birth to twin girls about, I think, 9 or 10 months before we started talking with her, and it was maybe 16 or 17 months by the time she became pregnant.
Wait, not 16 or 17 months with our program.
No,
between the time.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So, and she was great. She spoke with Dr. She seemed to be comfortable about the HIV thing even before speaking with Dr. Kiessling, and after that, very, very comfortable. And you're right, we didn't discuss the HIV thing once the entire time, and we spoke with her and her husband often. We Skyped, and she didn't ask. I actually brought it up twice because I was like, I don't want to forget the elephant in the room here. You know, want to make sure because she had to get tested several times throughout. And I just want to make sure you're doing that so that you're on top of your health as well. But it never came up from them, and it just was never an issue for them at all. And she gave birth to 2 healthy little girls.
Was it about 18 months, 17 months after you tried?
It was, I can tell you exactly when. So we joined you May 19th, and the girls were born October 19th, 2010. So from May 19th of 2009 to October. But we also went, quite frankly, we really took our time getting matched, because we were overwhelmed dealing with an infant for whom we had no preparation. So we thought we don't need to rush into the surrogacy thing so quickly. And then as we were going through it a little bit further, I remember saying, maybe we actually should rush this a little bit. I was already in my mid-40s, Fert's, a few years older than me, and we thought we could maybe get through the diaper thing and the sleepless night things quicker. And we easily all We are not through with diapers. We were through. I'm a firm believer in the Ferberizer method. You do not let your kid, after 3 months, they must sleep through the night. You deal with 1 or 2 nights of awfulness, maybe 3 or 4 at the most, but you must do that. And I know I have big bags on my eyes, but honestly, it's not from the kids. It's more my own stuff and work, etc. So.
Okay, so we're going to switch off the video now that we're going into the question portion. Do you know how to turn off your...
Yeah, I do. Since you're got another one, do you mind turning us off?